Hello, welcome to Staring Down the Storm, Autism Advocacy in America. I'm your host, Tabitha Ziegler. All right, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. We've got a very interesting guest today. I'm going to let him introduce himself. So, Bernard, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. This is Bernard Taylor, candidate for Congress down here in Florida, Congressional District 21.
Awesome. So let's just hit the road running. Give us a little bit of your origin story and why you would do such a crazy thing as to run for Congress.
Well, I'm a born and bred Floridian, fourth generation. South Florida is my home. I was born down in Miami, moved up to the Treasure Coast area when I was about 11 years old. Graduated from this area, high school, college, received the athletic and academic scholarship to an HBCU up in North Carolina, where I spent a couple of years trying to chase that NFL dream. It eventually ended up tearing up my knee, kind of fell out of love with football. So I did like most 20-year-olds, kind of just trying to figure out my life in my 20s. Worked all kind of odd jobs, whether that's, construction, landscaping. I worked in, the food industry, the hospitality industry, basically anything that was given a paycheck at the time because I had a family to support.
Right.
Eventually, I was able to get in contact with a mentor of mine who was in the fire service, and she put me on to being a firefighter, explained to me all the benefits, all the downsides, but why it was worth it. And, it combined my need for, not need, but my overall characteristic of wanting to help people and being in healthcare and still having kind of that sports field. Being a firefighter, you still have to maintain yourself, being in shape and being somewhat athletic. So it was like the perfect job for me. I jumped in head first. I've been doing it 6 years now, and it's the best job in the world. And seeing some of the things that I see in my job, responding to some of the 911 calls that I do, seeing how our healthcare system actually works, seeing how, a lot of people in this country are living. It opens your eyes to how legislation truly affects each and every one of us. And I got tired of seeing the people in my community struggle. So I said, if the person that's supposed to be representing us now is not going to be doing a good job, then I'll throw my hat in the ring.
I think we have a very similar story that way. So I'm also running for Congress in Indiana's 8th district. And my journey into politics was they brought RFK here. And I am an autism advocate. I've got 3 little kids with autism, and I'm late diagnosed myself. And Indiana has a very dark history with eugenics. We've got a little plaque very near the Capitol building that talks about it a little bit. And currently, we have some politicians in this state that are redrafting some legislation using words like institutional and institutionalization. So that activated me. And I went through all the proper channels, like I was actually on the current congressman in my area. He decided to do a virtual town hall.
Okay.
And I was on it because I wanted to ask some questions about autism, which they did not ask him, by the way. Just kind of lobbed him some softballs of things that I don't know. Maybe some people cared. It wasn't anything that I thought meant anything. And I was like, this is the guy? This is it. This is all we've got. Really? And, I even went as far because I'm from a very red area, very Republican area. My parents are Republican. Most of the people I know are Republican, right? And I was like, let me reach out to my local rep, try and make him an ally. So he's a disabled veteran. And I was like, certainly I should be able to make him an autism ally. Meeting went well. I had a meeting set up at the school and everything, and he never called me back. And I was like, you know what? I'm getting irritated now, and I'm not that type. So I talked to some of the other moms that I know doing all kinds of things in autism in Indianapolis, and I said, you know what? I think we need to put one of us in one of those seats because ultimately all roads to advocacy, it's not going to matter how much money we raise or what we do or who we call. If at the end of the day, these people are the ones writing the legislation and holding the bag.
Absolutely.
And they're like, yeah, you should do it. And I was like, say what?
Same.
So that was my entry into politics. And I was like, well, I'm not a quitter. So here we go.
Well, as a fellow autism parent, I salute you. I know the struggle, trust and believe. That's another reason why I got into this. When they start talking about, gutting the Department of Education, my mind immediately went to my son and his IEP and, what's going to be. what's going to be the ramifications for that.
Mhm.
So just more every little thing that these people do just radicalize me even more to take
Yeah.
this seat. And like
Yeah.
you, I'm also running against a disabled veteran, so we are
Mhm.
literally mirrored from where I am in Florida and your race there up in Indiana.
Well, I don't know that Mark Metz. I'm gonna have to check on that. That is my local rep,
Oh,
my
okay.
state rep.
Okay.
But, congressionally, I'm gonna have to look into it. I don't think that Mesmer is actually, a veteran, but, he certainly is not advocating for vets and certainly not disabled vets, I can tell you that.
I
Because
believe it.
that man, every time he has the opportunity to vote down something, unless it is voting for something that is corporate or maybe APAC funded, he's not voting for it, you know?
Right. No, no, my co-star here is trying to jump into the screen. Hold on, son.
That's all right. He can come in.
No, and when you talk about those things again, it's like, dealing with a lot of these politicians. They say
Mhm.
one thing when you look at the voting record, it's the complete opposite. And
Yeah.
that's one of the things that I try to highlight on the
Mhm.
campaign trail. It is
Mhm.
literally like, hey, I need you guys to stop listening to people's rhetoric and start actually listening to and going to research their voting record. Like all this stuff is public. It's public information. You can Google these things. You want to know
Mhm.
how they
Mhm.
really feel about veterans? Go see when veterans funding comes up. What is
Mhm.
their vote?
Mhm.
You want to know how they feel about healthcare? Go see what their vote is. They can
Mhm.
tell you a lot of things to make you feel like, oh, this person is for me. But when it
Mhm.
comes down to put pen to paper and they vote against the things that they say they're going to be for, you need to hold them accountable. And if
Yeah.
you don't hold them accountable, if you continue to send them back just because they got an R or a D next to their name, what is the motivation for them to listen to you ever?
Exactly. Well, I also find it quite curious that we're all kind of finding one another one way or the other because we have a mutual friend in common, Jasmine Thomas, who's
Yeah.
running in Oklahoma. And I
I know.
actually took my kids, I drove out to Oklahoma to interview her because I was like, oh, we have an interesting person here. And I
Yeah.
was like, I gotta get more people on the line that are running for office. I mean, I would have loved to drive down to Florida, but quite honestly, with both of us running our campaigns, it wasn't gonna happen.
Not right now, man. It's getting to the thick
Yeah.
of things too.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean we might not run into each other in person one of
Oh
these
yeah,
days. I would
absolutely. When we
imagine.
when we win and we see each other up there in the Capitol building, 100%. Yeah, Jasmine,
Yep.
that's my twin, man. It's my little sister. We got into our races around the same time. When it
Mhm.
was it was a whole bunch of us that kind of found each other last year. Just
Mhm.
like we're gonna all just run these races, and to see from where we started last year to where we are now. Some people, they had their primaries. Unfortunately, they didn't
Mhm.
win, or they may
Mhm.
made it
Mhm.
through, and just seeing that it's possible for you, just seeing that, a regular person does have a chance.
Yeah.
And what I encourage people to do, regardless win or lose, is
Mhm.
build on this momentum. Don't let it get you
Mhm.
down. Especially if you was able to galvanize your community and you were able to do a lot of positive things in the community while you were campaigning. You don't want to
Mhm.
be one of those people that just was doing these things simply because you were trying to win an election.
Yeah.
Again, we have enough people that do that and they're in office right now and they're trash.
Mhm.
So let's actually
Yeah.
be good people and continue the work that we're doing and building in these
Mhm.
campaigns. Because there are a lot of people that run these races that don't necessarily win on the first time.
Yeah.
Some of them it takes two or three times. But,
Mhm.
we're going to all hope that we get on this ballot the first time.
Yeah. Well, and I do really like the organizing standpoint because, like we're in a group chat together with a lot of really interesting
Mhm.
candidates. I was late, right? Like I was one of those that I just kept waiting for someone to step up. And I was like, you know what? Somebody's going to come forward. Like somebody's going to be really interesting that comes forward. And I'm going to be like, great, you got it. I'm going to vote for you. And I just didn't see that. And so we were down to the wire, and I hadn't slept for like 24 hours. It was just eating at
Mm.
me,
Oh,
because
wow.
I could not run for office because I was a federal employee. I
Mhm.
was a U.S. city mail carrier, and because the Hatch
Oh,
Act,
okay.
I could not run for office. And so when I found that out, I was like, okay, maybe it's a sign. I'll try and help out in other ways.
Mhm.
And the closer and closer it got to the deadline, I was like, I can't sleep. This is just grating on my nerves. And so I literally put in my resignation the same day. Then I drove to Indianapolis, put in my paperwork like a few hours before the deadline, and Bob's your uncle. Here I am. And here I've
Oh,
got
wow.
these. 3 little kids with autism. Everything has gone wrong as far as campaign like, traditional campaigning,
Yeah.
and I am constantly reinventing the wheel, and I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna use the skills that God gave me," and I was already a podcaster. I'm like, I'm gonna hit it on social media. I'm gonna talk to as many
Go.
people as I possibly can. I'm gonna radicalize as many people as I possibly can, and I think I might have even radicalized my opponent a bit. Not Mark Mesmer. I don't think he can
Your
be radicalized.
your primary opponent?
Yeah, like Mary Ellen, she finally said genocide at our debate yesterday, and I was like,
Oh,
"Oh,
what?
you getting look? Is it making you sweat?" You know,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm talking about, man.
but
But
I
no, we
think,
gotta hold them accountable, man. We
yeah,
gotta make
like
these people like see who's going to be for them and who's just going to be another, you know, standard politician, man. If you're not willing to call out things right now in the campaign trail, you for sure are not going to call them out when you get up to the Capitol. So people need to
yeah.
start proving themselves out here. So I'm
Yeah.
glad that happened.
Yeah. And I think what we're doing, I would consider myself a progressive. Would you as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's interesting what's happening with these progressives in the race because we're pushing it, right? Like we're making people really, really uncomfortable to the
Yeah.
point where it's forcing them to do things that they may not normally do, good or bad. So I love that I'm stoking little fires everywhere I go.
Cool. And I mean, even when you think about, even the national party, they're condemning dark money, even though they
Yeah.
still don't want to single out, APAC specifically. They just want to generalize all dark money. We condemn it.
Mm. Hmm.
So you like say you start to see some of the things breaking through, even some of the attacks you see on different people in this movement that have huge platforms, and you
Hmm.
see the people
Hmm.
in the at the top trying to attack them, which is crazy. And that's the one thing I dislike about this side. It's like y'all
Yeah.
don't know how to like just fall in line and just unify so you can get the goal accomplished. There's so many different I guess that's the problem when you have such a big tent, man. You got so many different factions and small groups of people in your tent that you got to try to
Hmm.
satisfy everyone. And at the end of
Hmm.
the day, just focus on doing the right things and focus
Yeah.
on decent humanity and stop trying to, satisfy the people with the money because you're going to lose the people here at the bottom. If you didn't
Hmm.
find that out in 2024, I hope you
Hmm.
realize that now.
Mm. Well, something that I think the Democratic Party is just missing in general, besides the numbers, is that this is a team sport and that the progressives are building the team. Like, you guys are busy trying to tear it down, and we're like back to basics with the community organizing. And like, that's why I find it so fascinating, these people I'm meeting, because they're all basically saying the same thing. They basically have the same through line, which is we're progressives because we want progress.
hmm Absolutely. I wasn't smartest in school, but I can read, progressive progress. We want progress. We want to progress forward. We want to make better. I just, me personally, again, basic comprehension. It escapes a lot of people, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, since you brought up education, let's talk about that a bit. Um, would you say that it is intentional that we are not investing in our education?
Absolutely. 100%. You
Let's
heard the
cook on
man.
that for a bit.
You heard the man. He likes the poorly educated. So
Mhm.
absolutely. We don't invest in education in this country. We don't invest in it because truthfully, we just want a bunch of uh people who can be willfully molded and migrated into whatever field that we need them to in order to do a bunch of work for a minimum wage that
Mhm.
is not even enough to sustain your life. When you start learning critical thinking skills and you start to think outside the box, you start to learn those analytical skills, you start to see a lot of nonsense and a lot of stuff that is BS that gets spewed. And the
Mhm.
more people that see those things, the less likely the propaganda in their BS actually works. So they are 100% trying to make sure that now that not as many people in this country are educated. We
Mhm.
see the numbers. The more education you have, the more likely you are to vote for one side over the other.
Mhm. What do you think about these Iran Lego videos that are coming out? Speaking of educating the public,
Hilarious.
have you seen that?
Hilarious. Yes,
I was like,
hilarious.
"Damn, you guys are dropping some truth bombs on the
Bruh.
American public."
Hilarious, and they know that we are a country that is average a 6th grade education, so they're
Right.
communicating in a way that talks to the
Yeah.
the average intelligence of this country, so it is absolutely hilarious, that they are literally telling the truth and poking fun at us at the same time.
Which is, typically our forte, or at least my generation. I'm a millennial, so, I may, in some instances, be some of the, like, older ones in the race, but I'm certainly just as spunky. I'm trying to learn as fast as I can with social media, and this is why I find it so interesting because they're appealing to everyone. Like, everybody can get down with these Lego videos, and I
Mhm.
think it bridges on what the progressives are doing, which I find fascinating because most of the progressive candidates that I talk to, they're truth tellers.
Absolutely. Again, people tired of the nonsense. When I'm out here on the streets, I'm in the R+7 district, so a lot of
Mhm,
people I talk to, don't necessarily align with everything that I align with, but they're
mhm,
willing to have those conversations and they're willing to listen because they know they're going to get the truth from me. Like I'm not
mhm,
out here trying to sugarcoat nothing. I feel the way
mhm,
I feel, and you feel the way you feel. It is our job to come up with solutions. I
mhm,
feel like my solutions are good. You feel like your solutions are good. Well, let's kind of figure out where we can meet and work these things out. And if we can't work these things out, let's shake hands and move on.
mhm,
Like I said, I work in the fire service. I work with
mhm,
people from all different backgrounds. It's
mhm,
it's it's six of us that have to work to preserve life and protect property. We
mhm,
don't always agree on everything at the station. We don't always have the same ideologies, religions, and backgrounds. But at the end of the day, we all unite for those two common things: protecting life and protecting property. It should be the same when we're talking about making sure that everyone here has the best chance at a great life. And when I'm
mhm,
out here in the community, when I'm out here explaining those things and having those conversations, there are more people willing to listen to someone like that as
mhm,
opposed to like, you're terrible, you evil, you're terrible, you evil. That sounds stupid. That sounds dumb. Now,
mhm,
obviously, you run into your crazy people every now and again. You gotta,
mhm,
hey,
mhm,
we're not
mhm,
playing that game. You gotta set them straight. For the
mhm,
most part, more people than not are willing to have those conversations with you. And again, I'm a millennial as well, so
mhm,
it's the perfect generation to be able to talk to the older people and the young
mhm.
people at the same time.
I feel like the millennials come from a very interesting place. Um, like, I was born in 1983, so I'm kinda at the top of that. But, like, I walk in many circles, right? Like, I
Mhm,
was of that generation that was still playing with, like, dirts and stick,
mhm.
and all that, and riding my bike in and out of town, into the country, be in the driveway by sundown sorta thing,
Mhm.
then learning computers, figuring things out, you know
Literally grew up with technology.
yeah, but it didn't start with it, right? So even my
Oh,
education, like, I didn't start with computers. I
right.
still remember playing Oregon Trail on those big old floppy disks on that
Yes,
old
yeah,
Apple. You
absolutely,
remember?
yep.
And it's like beep,
Absolutely.
beep, beep, beep,
Yep.
beep, beep. Yeah.
That was the Call of Duty back in the day, man. You had Oregon Trail on the computer. You were the coolest man on the block.
Well, I mean, we didn't even have a computer at home. That was like the school computer, you
Yeah.
know? And those, like, weird little floppy disks that they had, you had to be really
Yeah.
careful because 'cause you'd break it when you put it in. Yeah, no, it's crazy. But to
Oh,
watch
Lord.
now so many millennials get activated, I think it's because, like I often say, I feel like I was at war my entire life. I did not personally go to war, but
Mhm,
I watched people go. And you just went from like 9/11. I was just entering college at 9/11. So I watched people leave and go to work at the World Trade Center, like to do cleanup. I watched people leave, like be taken out of class to go to the service. Um, and we just had war for like 20 years. Like
yeah.
at least half of my life. It's just been in and out, in and out. So I think I got really activated with Iran because I was like, oh, son of a bitch, here we go. Like another 20-year
Mhm.
war. And I'm like, no, no, sir. Like, I'm going to speak truth to power every opportunity I get. Because, like I told someone the other day, words are softer than bullets. And before we get to that point in this country, let's do everything we can up until that point. And that's what I appreciate about candidates like you guys, just speaking truth to power, being honest, giving it like unfiltered. It's
Oh,
important.
absolutely, again, it seems to be so far away whenever we talk about these conflicts that happen on the other side of the world, but when again, man, my unique perspective from the things that I do, when you see, a lot of death, when you see a lot of struggle, when you see a lot of these things over a long period of time, and it does something to you. And you hear some of the stories of the people who have fought those 20-year wars, whether that be in
Mhm.
Iraq and Afghanistan and all these different things. Like they'll tell you, like a lot of them just feel like it was for nothing. A lot of them feel
Yeah.
like they were fighting wars for people who had you know private interests and political interests as opposed to protecting the country. And
Mhm.
you know, you can never take back taking someone's life. I
No.
think I saw a video earlier today. Actually, a guy was talking, and he was just like, I conducted a raid on someone's home at 2:30 in the morning, and he thinks about it today as like, well, I was in someone's house at 2:30 in the morning. They went to grab a gun. Well, why did they grab a gun? Because I was in their house at 2:30 in the
Yeah.
morning. It's like, yeah, if it's somebody come in my house, I'm at 2:30 in the morning. I'm gonna grab something too. And it's like, how
Mhm.
did how did I know that guy? How did I know that guy would have been hostile towards me if he met me, if we had a conversation? What I'm saying? If we talked, I've met his family, he met my family.
Mhm.
Those are the types of things you can't get back. And those are the types of things I think about. It's like you talking about, taking people's lives. We just saw how many innocent children get killed in that in the school explosion
Mhm.
from our government. And it's
Yeah.
just we over here kind of just brush it off like, oh, okay, like 100 kids died. Like, no, man, 100 kids died by the country's hand. Like,
Mhm.
how do you just brush that off? And it's because it is so
Mhm.
far away, and it's unfortunate, man. I think I wish a lot more people could actually experience this stuff, so maybe they wouldn't be so callous and
Mhm.
have such a inhumane response to these things.
Well, since we're on the subject of brown bodies, let's go ahead and talk about Dilly. What are your thoughts on Dilly?
Oh boy,
Ooh, boy, I know. Like, I'm just hitting you with it, ain't I?
yeah,
That's how I
um,
roll.
um, not a fan. Not a fan
Yeah.
of not at all.
No.
Um, mm, come here, son. I
Right.
think I truly think that there needs to be a reckoning when it comes
Mm.
to all of that, all of
Mhm.
this, because
Mhm.
a lot of people's hatred, a lot of people's prejudice, a lot of people's bigotry has led us down to this path that we are on, and it is terrible. I didn't think that we would ever get back to a point where, a lot of my community feels like there's no progress been made over the past 60 years
Mhm.
because my grandparents are seeing some of the same things that they
Mhm.
saw when they were my age and younger.
Mhm.
And it's unfortunate because again, you have way too many people that are in power that
Mhm.
are too cowardly or too entrenched in the
Mhm.
power structure to say anything about it. And like I say, man, when I get elected, I'm speaking it into existence. There's gonna be a
Mhm.
lot of people upset with me because I'm
Mhm.
calling everything out and I'm saying what is
Yeah.
on my mind at all times, and ain't nobody gonna like it.
Mhm. Oh, I was in a debate yesterday and I literally said, I try and keep myself up to date as much as I can. I know, we're getting blasted from information from all sides, so it's hard to
Mhm.
keep up sometimes, but
Yeah.
I saw a story about a 3-year-old girl that was sexually assaulted and, separated from her mother, but
Mhm.
her father was an American citizen. And I'm
Mhm.
like, "You know what? We are getting to a point where there absolutely has to be a reckoning." And, if the things in the White House and the people that had connections to covering up the Epstein files and not giving people justice, if that wasn't bad enough, now you have these camps where they're separating children from their families and they are getting essayed in these camps. You have places like, in Dilley where, these girls are getting separated. And you have girls that are showing up pregnant that weren't pregnant when they went in.
Mhm.
And I'm sorry, but we need to have a come to Jesus. Like, I feel like if we can spend between 500 million to $2 billion a day on a war, we sure as shit can contribute that amount of money to tracking these motherfuckers to the ends of the earth. Like, that would be a good
100%.
start. And
100%.
I
And it ain't
think,
like you don't know who they are. Like all these
yeah,
people are employed by
mm-hmm,
these detention centers, so you know who they are. And
mm-hmm.
like there needs to be, like you say, man, the things that I would do
I know,
that would take me away from my children because
right?
again, it is horrible. And they talk about "Oh, we just need to deport everybody, deport everybody." Well,
Mhm,
you're not deporting people. You're putting them in these places and you're
mhm.
holding them for things like this. You're trafficking people. You're
Yeah.
not if it was about deportations, why are we still building more facilities to
Mhm,
hold people instead of
mhm,
just getting them out of here?
mhm,
Because we know it's not about deportation.
mhm,
Um, one of the things that worst things that happen to this country is the for-profit prison industry.
mhm,
Um, as long as bodies are profitable and people can make money off these things, they'll tell you, "Oh yeah, we're gonna just send them back home." Well, okay, you send them back home. Why are you holding them here for six
mhm,
months to a year? It
mhm.
shouldn't be that. Shouldn't be. It's. I think it would be cheaper to just grab them, put them on a bus, and send them wherever you want to send them. But apparently, that's not
Mm,
what you guys are doing because we are seeing evidence that that's not what you're doing. And because
yeah.
again, the desensitization of this country and the people, well, I don't see it happening, so it must not be real, or it's not
Mhm,
affecting me, so I don't care.
mhm,
But you claim to be, protect the kids, protect women, and all this other stuff, and
mhm.
when you get in these scenarios because there are brown women and brown and brown kids, now
Mhm.
it's like, oh, forget all that, protect the
Mm.
kids and protect the women thing, and
Well,
unfortunate.
this is why history is important, right? Because, like, I know Indiana's got a salty history with racism. I try and take my opportunities to speak on that. I used to pride myself on being from the North. Um, we are revisiting things that the South fought generations to undo. And I think it's significant that there are a lot of people in power right now that are white, that, they're not seeing this color. They're not making this connection between that could be your child. Like, I've got a 6.5-year-old and 4-year-old twins. They'll be 5 in August. And I'll tell you what, I hold my children a little tighter because of things like this, because I'm
Mhm.
constantly hearing these stories. And when I heard that story about that little 3-year-old baby, my daughter's 4. And for me, as a humanist, I make that connection real quick.
Mhm.
And I can't see how we as Americans, as a multicultural civilization, right? How we're still having these conversations about, well, maybe we're addressing it too hard. Like, let's not be too aggressive. What do you mean? Let's not be too aggressive. Like, you
Yeah.
have babies being hurt. And like you said, you can't very well at this point claim that you're pro life and pro children and all this stuff whenever that kind of stuff is happening to babies on your watch and with your tax dollars.
No, absolutely. And again, I read a story this morning. There's a lady in a detention center right now who has signed her deportation papers. She wants to leave. She's saying, "Send me to my son who's 2 years old in Colombia right now," and they don't want to send her to Colombia. They want to send her somewhere else. So she's voluntarily saying, "Okay, you got me. I'm signing my papers. Just send me to Colombia so I can be with my 2 year old." And it's like, well, no, we're not doing that. We're going to send you over somewhere else. It's like, so it ain't about deport. It's literally
Mm-mm,
cruelty. It is literally
mm-mm,
about torturing people. Like the lady saying, "You got me. Send me on my way. My son needs me." And it's like, "No, we're not going to do that."
mhm.
So what's the point of it all if it's not cruelty?
Core Civic and Geo Group, they're criminal organizations at this point. That's how I feel. So anybody that currently has stock in these organizations right now that are profiting off of human trafficking, like,
Mhm.
you people, I'm telling you, like, the type of things that need to change in this country are drastic. And I hope to God they get some of us in there. I hope they get a lot of us. Can you imagine how quickly this country would change? We would just bring the hammer down
Man,
and be like, everything stops. We need 2 weeks and we are going to fix this
well,
shit right now.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. They get a bunch of us in there. There's going to be a lot of people in power that are going to feel very nervous because, again, they don't want any uncontrolled resources up there. And
Mm-mm.
this is definitely two uncontrolled resources I'm
Yeah.
talking right now. So,
Yeah.
I tell people all the time when I'm out here because I got two other people that I'm running against in my
Hmm.
primary, and
Hmm.
I'm like, trust me, I'm not the one that people want on any side, whether
Yeah.
it's Democrat or They don't want me to be the representative in the hierarchy of things because I am
Hmm.
very much not compliant. Right is right and wrong is wrong.
Hmm. But I think that's what we need, right? Like, We are actively right now representing the American populace. Here you have two millennials from two different sides of the country, two different colors, different cultural experiences, right? We should fill Congress with faces like ours, working class people that have these experiences that can speak truth to power unapologetically and would be like, no, no, ma'am,
Absolutely.
no, sir. Like the buck stops here.
No, absolutely. I completely agree. The more of us in there like this, as opposed to people who are been in there, before even my parents, my
Mm-hmm.
grandparents,
Mm-hmm.
it's like these
Mm-hmm.
boomers that are still making decisions that are so deeply disconnected from the everyday American person. Like it is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
That's another reason why I advocate for term limits, and I
Yep.
also advocate for overturning Citizens United and getting rid of
100%.
insider trading. Like we got to get rid of all these incentives that keep
Mhm,
people working for their donors instead of working for us. So
mhm, mhm,
working towards that goal and working towards getting those things done have to be a priority as soon as the new Congress comes into place. And hopefully we have enough numbers to
mhm,
be able to overturn the people that don't want to change and fix the corruption in our system.
mhm. Well, as we know, this starts with the people, and if we are two people that currently are trying to represent the people's interests, then they need to vote for us. They need to vote for people like us, Like, I am from a farming community, and I'm watching these, people with their grubby little fingers look at 63% tillable farm ground in Indiana, and we don't have a governor or anybody else in here that has any sort of backbone. And I'm like, these people are going to come in here and they're going to make this place like a shopping mall full of data centers. You guys better start paying attention. So I've been speaking loudly about data centers, the ramifications of what happens with them. Do you guys have anything like that going on in your district?
I actually have 3 trying to go up in my districts, 1 in each
Mm.
county. So I got my district covers 3 counties, and there's a data center trying to be put up in each one of them. So,
Mhm.
yeah, we're fighting that same fight down here in Florida, and
Mhm.
it's crazy to be in a state with the resources that we have and the environment that we have. When you think about the Florida Everglades, there's no
Mhm.
ecosystem like it on
Right.
Earth. It is
Right.
literally a unique ecosystem, and you have these quote unquote champions of the Everglades down here who vote to tear down our environment by,
Mhm.
catering to the real estate and development lobby, catering
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
these AI data centers and all these different things. One of our potential gubernatorial candidates, Mr. Donalds, representative from South Florida, he has
Mhm.
just taken $5 million from AI data center
Mm.
corporation to his campaign. So I try to educate people. I was like, all right, well, if you make him governor, do you really think he's going to protect our land from these data centers being built?
Mhm. Mhm.
So all these different things we have to continue to fight against, have to continue to
Yeah.
get the word out about, because if we don't, like you say, they're going to come in and turn this whole country into basically one big industry.
Mhm.
There won't be any much of rural or agricultural America left anywhere.
Right. Well, let's talk about our national park system for a minute because you guys have some interesting national parks in Florida as well.
No, again, like you say, you got the Everglades, you got the caverns up there in Central Florida, which are
Mhm.
beautiful, like the underwater spring caverns. Like
Mhm.
I don't cave dive, but I've been down there, and
Mhm. Mhm.
no, it is literally like I say, it's once in a lifetime thing that you can see, and we don't want these resources to have we don't want these resources to disappear overnight. We want to actually solve some of these problems. Even in my district, again, Lake Okeechobee was voted the dirtiest lake in the entire country. So think about however many lakes in America there are, and we have the dirtiest lake right here in my district, and
Right.
all that stuff funnels down to waterways over here into the St. Lucie River and the Erie Lagoon, and it creates blue-green algae. It creates, health problems. Cancer rates have spiked over the past decade just around
Mhm.
the lake because of breathing all those things in.
Mhm.
And again, that all centers back to these developers that are coming in here and just want to build, build, build,
Mhm.
not being regulated, being able
Mhm.
to do
Mhm.
whatever with the waste. We have our sugar industry down here, um, that um the runoff from the sugar mills and the pollution that also contributes to these things. And then, we do crazy things like, I don't know, build a $500 million detention center in the middle of the Everglades,
Mm.
as a big publicity stunt. But again, man, you got these people talking about they care about the environment. So We need change. We desperately need change down here in Florida, and we're working towards it. Where at the state level, at the local levels.
Mhm,
If you guys
mhm,
have seen across the country, we're having big wins in Florida over the past
mhm,
year.
mhm,
So we are down here on the ground trying to make it work with what resources that we do have. Because truth be told, when you are here in Florida,
mhm,
you hear it a lot. No, there's no reason to invest in Florida from the outside
mhm,
world and
mhm,
the quote unquote establishment. There's no reason to invest here. This place is so red. This place is so red. This place is not red. This place is underfunded and underorganized. And we're working to make that better so we can make the changes that you guys have been seeing,
mhm,
whether that's having a Democratic mayor in Miami for the first time in 30
mhm,
years or a
mhm,
Democratic mayor in the city of Boca for the first time in 20 years,
mhm, mhm.
winning Donald Trump's district down there in Palm Beach County, which overlaps my congressional district. So all these different things we're doing on our own. We're straight being out here in the community and building these coalitions to
Mhm.
make our state what it could be. I
Yeah.
know people forget this. A Democrat used to actually run this state back in the '90s, and I grew up here in the '90s, and it was great. So
Mhm,
I know what it was. I know what it could be.
mhm. Well, my family, I have a particular connection to Florida because my family's been coming down there for, let's see, I will be 43, probably 43 years. My parents have a timeshare, really.
Oh
Um,
yeah, where at?
New Smyrna Beach, Florida,
Right
over
up
by
the road.
Daytona.
Yeah, you about 2.5 hours up the road.
Yeah. So, and we've always driven, like
Hmm.
every once in a while we would fly, but we were like many people from the Midwest and Canada that would, we
God.
were driving it. We'd drive straight through that, 18-hour drive or
Yeah.
whatever, like pee alongside of the road sort of thing, like typical Midwesterners. So, yeah, I have a particular interest in making sure that Florida is all right. There is a big conservation area over there
Yeah.
in the inlet area.
Mhm.
Um, they're always, having sea turtles come up and lay eggs. And, all the kids from, we used to stay at the Islander. My parents still go there.
Okay.
But,
Well, for me in Indiana, my connection comes from the annual firefighter conference that you guys have up there in Indianapolis,
oh, really?
which
In
is
Indianapolis?
next week. So
Are
I
you
will
going to be
be
up here?
in your city, in your town
What?
next week.
Well, I'm an hour and a half away, so we're going to meet up then.
Absolutely. I'll be there from Tuesday to Friday. So you got a
Let's
shot
tear
to
it up.
come hang it out.
Let's
Come hang
let's
it out.
tear it up Indiana style.
Yeah, it was interesting. So last year was the first time I went there, and it was my first time. So I got
Mhm.
to see Lucas Oil Stadium and see
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
downtown, and the Pacers was playing one of those nights, so
Yeah.
that was cool. And I was like, all right, this is nice. And then I went outside of Indianapolis and like outside of the downtown to where we were staying. I was like, oh, this stuff looks like Gary a little bit.
Well, we have a similar problem in Indiana, right? Like I
Mhm,
think we've had a Republican governor since 2005 and the House and the Senate has been saturated since 2011.
mhm,
And they haven't really done anything to benefit working people. And I also remember a time whenever we had Democratic governors, the place was an all right place to live. There used to be a lot of unions. Like my
mhm.
family, we've been working in the steel industry and farming for over 200 years. So, like, we've got very deep ties to this area.
Mhm.
And I think that's why I beat the drum so much because I'm like, listen, motherfuckers, you're going to have to
Yes.
fight me
Yeah.
for this. You're going to have to fight me to the
Absolutely.
death for this. And I get that from you too with Florida.
But that's the thing. It's like that's home for you. Like, say, I've been here. My
Mhm.
family's been here damn near 100 years, man. This is
Yeah.
my home. I didn't
Yeah.
migrate here to win a seat. Like,
Right.
I got
Right.
roots here. My family's here. My kids are here. A lot of my friends are still here. Like, my career is here. Like, this is
Mhm.
this is home
Mhm.
for me. And again, to see what it is and knowing what it could be is mind blowing. And you hear all the Florida man stories from the outside world, and it's like we're not all crazy down here. I know that's
Yeah.
what get amplified, but we're
Man, we're
not all
saying that in
crazy.
Indiana too. And like, Jesus Christ. Like, we got
Yeah,
people like Jim Banks who's, talking to those people that
yeah,
got like, do you remember that?
uh-huh.
I was like, get the hell out of here. Like,
Yeah.
most people from Indiana are a cup of sugar sort of people. I'm not saying we all agree, but at the end of the day, like, you get stranded on the side of the road or whatever, somebody's going to stop, somebody's going to help you out. Like, these people going to Washington make us look like bad people.
Yeah.
That's about the nicest way I can put that, and whenever I saw Jim Banks do that, just something curdled in my stomach, and I was like, "You are a liar."
Well, it was interesting too seeing you guys not get pulled into the whole redistricting thing. I was like, oh, okay, got
Mm,
some guys, got some spine up there in Indiana, got
you
a little spine
know?
up there.
Yeah, I was actually surprised that my Senator Spencer Deery from my area said no, and, his house got swatted, and
Oh
he's running
wow,
again. And there's a lady from my area running against him, and wouldn't you know it, she went out to DC to have pictures with Trump.
that's how it
I
goes,
was like, "You fucking
right?
bootlicker."
Yeah, that's how it is, man. Go
But
get the picture so you can get that support, man. But we need more people of
mm,
integrity. Again, we don't know have to agree on everything, but at least have some basic integrity and principles about yourself. Like I can get behind somebody who has some integrity and not just
yeah,
like, yeah, I got to do whatever they tell me. Like if you
mhm,
standing on something, like again, man, I don't agree with everything Thomas Massey say, but at least he's standing on his character and his
yep,
integrity and things that he believes.
mhm,
And those
mhm,
those are people that I can have discussions with because at least I know that you're thinking for yourself and it's
yeah.
not just whatever the party says.
Exactly. Yeah, we need people that'll stand 10 toes down. That's what I like about
Mhm.
Jasmine, and so far, that's what I like about you. I'm very much one of these that I'm like, I need to fill people out. I need to be in a room, like face to face with someone, suss them out a bit, and I can smell a rat almost instantly. And I'm like, I either like you or I don't. I'm either going to work with you or I'm not. But yes, at the very end, if you stand on business, I can at least respect you for that. But these people that have no backbone, and right now these people like Mesmer, for example, where it's like,
Mhm.
dude, you've got two eyes and you can see. How can you not at least make some sort of a public comment, even if you have your staff do it about, like, Epstein, that's not a great look.
Yeah.
Palestine, that's
Mhm.
probably not great. Like, you can't even do that. You can't even be like, oh, this has gone like way into genocide territory, and I'm not comfortable saying genocide, but I'm at least going to say, oh, bad. I don't like it.
Mhm.
You can't even do
No,
that.
no, you get slapped on the hand and get your money taken away. You start doing that type of stuff,
No,
and
I mean, these people are
yeah.
white knuckling it to the grave with this stuff. Really, it's just disgusting.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing too. Like nobody wants to do the work of campaigning, so
Mm,
they supplement that with the money that they raise. If you actually got out here and knock these doors and was out in the community and doing 100 to 200 events throughout your community and
mhm,
being
mhm,
among the people, you wouldn't necessarily have to worry about your funds being cut off or people not running ads for you when the time
mhm,
comes because you've been out here doing the work. Problem is again, people don't want to do the work no more. Especially a lot of them people that have been in there for decades and
mhm,
and
mhm,
years at a time. It's just, well, I don't want to do that work anymore. Let's just make sure I get enough money to put my face on TV 600 to 1,000 times in
mhm,
2 months, so
mhm,
people know who to vote for when the time comes. And
mhm,
we're working to defeat that mindset. We're working to defeat that. The best thing that could happen when I win is winning my campaign and winning my election with the money that we raised as opposed to the money that was raised on the other side and showing people like, hey, you don't have to have all this money if you're willing to get out
mhm,
here and sweat. And if I'm
mhm,
out here in this Florida humidity sweating, y'all can get out there
mhm.
in the Midwest and on the West Coast and up
Mhm.
north and things of that nature and put boots on the ground.
Yeah. And I'm gonna talk about something particular to my race because, um, my opponent often says that. She's like, like, "We've been out to all 21 counties and all that." And then you have someone like me that, I'm not able to because I don't have
Hmm.
childcare. So I've been really talking about childcare a lot because I'm like, imagine what these US women could do if we had universal childcare in this country.
Hmm.
Imagine the new businesses that would be started. Like, it is intentional. I mean, now they're talking about putting us back in the kitchen. And I'm literally watching that play out in my race because, you know, I can't even hire a babysitter. I've tried so
Yeah.
many different things just in general to get babysitters and stuff like that.
Hmm.
You know, my parents, they also can't do it very often. And so then you're like, right, I'm a politician. The traditional way of campaigning is to go around and knock on doors. I have a child that elopes. Nobody's going to like ride shotgun in the car with me to sit
Hmm.
with my kids so I can knock on doors. You have to get really inventive. And
Absolutely.
I think that it's something worth talking about, right? Because we're probably missing out on a lot of good candidates that are restricted by these things, especially women that are like, I have some great ideas. They probably would make maybe like a good state rep or, state senator, but they're constricted by these things and
Mhm,
therefore their messages aren't getting out there. So I try and give that some heat too, because I'm
mhm.
like, maybe, hopefully I win, right? If I
Mhm.
win, I'm going to have a hell of a platform to talk about these things.
No, absolutely. And again, we have to be creative because we're not going
Mhm.
to raise millions of dollars. So that's where the
Mhm.
advent of social media comes into effect to make sure you can get your voice in front of
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands of people and in a way that you might not necessarily be able to because you're constricted by not having enough childcare or you're constricted with your movements. You
Mhm.
have to
Mhm.
use every avenue you can when you're going to run for these elections and you don't have the funds. So whether that's trying to explore all these different social media platforms, whether that's being boots
Mhm.
on the ground
Mhm.
when you can, doing what we're doing now, having these conversations and getting them out to as many people as possible, like all
Mhm.
these different
Mhm.
things.
Mhm.
You have to be creative in your avenues if you're going to do this because again, it's it is not easy.
Right.
I salute anyone that steps into this thing. Like I say, sleep is optional these days.
Yeah.
Again, if you're gonna get out here and then have your life be scrutinized and be put under
Mhm.
the microscope because
Mhm. Mhm.
every little thing, every little discrepancy is gonna come out. And if you're
Yep.
willing to do all that, I salute you.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm really fascinated by a lot of these candidates that I'm meeting, like I told you before. I think it's so cool that we're seeing such a diverse group of people just rise to the occasion and they're like, nope, you know what? Like freedom and liberty means more.
Absolutely. It does. And again, if at the end of the day, if we don't fight for it, I'm tired of putting my faith in other people, just being
Yeah.
brutally honest with you. Even people that I thought were going to be good are not, don't turn out to be as good as I thought they were going to be,
Mhm.
or they
Mhm.
get swallowed up by the beltway and how
Mhm.
things are.
Mhm.
And that's another question I get all the time too. Is like, well, what makes you different? When you get
Right.
up there, you're gonna conform and all these other things. And I'm like,
Mhm.
you must be don't know me. I have not had one of those respectful authority things. That's not in my
Mm.
repertoire at times,
Mm.
especially when the authority is terrible. So
Yep.
you
Yep.
can you can be, hey, you could best believe like if anybody thinks I'm gonna go somewhere and people just gonna tell me what to do and I'm gonna fall in line, you
Mhm.
better ask my mom. She ain't got me to fall in line in 37 years. She's still
You
working on
know,
it. So if she can't even do it, I don't think nobody in Washington gonna be able to do it. So I'm
my
gonna get up there
mom
and stand on what I believe.
Well, yeah. My mom is constantly sending me memes about, like, basically how strong-willed my children are and how that's a
Mhm.
reflection on me, and I'm like, "Good." She's like, "Your daughter, she just yells at everybody." And I was like, "Well, that's a good skill to have because, she's probably gonna have to do that, and she might as well start yelling now."
Absolutely. Yell in the safety of your home so you be all right when you yell out there in hospital territories.
Exactly. Well, and I had a really good friend of mine that often said this, and I constantly think about this with these legislators right now. This is the difference between people from the working class that have actually experienced things and that have not.
Mhm.
She always used to say, you can always tell people that have been hit in the face and those that haven't. And I'm like, you're not lying.
Yeah,
And I think
sure ain't lying.
our generation is kind of that, where it's like, we were
Mhm.
scrappy. We were scrappy. Like, nobody was hovering over us. Like, they'd be like, right, yeah, you can ride your bike all around town, do whatever you need to do, watch out for strangers, watch out for cars. But
Yeah,
ultimately, we are going to waylay you if you're not in, like, bicycle in the driveway.
absolutely.
Sun has to not be set yet. And
Absolutely.
you better bring your brother and sisters with you.
Yep. Oh, I literally remember like growing up, like we'll take the bus, like we'll just hop on the bus and be like 30 miles from the house. And it's like, just be home before it get dark. I'm like, all
Yeah.
right. So I hop the bus, we
Yeah.
two transfers back up to North Miami. We back in the house before the lights come on. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like
Mm-hmm.
thinking about telling my sons to do that now with everything going on in the
Mm,
world. It's just like, man, I don't even let them out my sight if I can help it, unfortunately. And
mm,
that's the world that we have cultivated with
yeah.
all the things that are going on right now. And all these weird, perverse people coming out the shadows because they feel more emboldened now.
Well, that's it, right? I mean, you can't very well have a president that even still, I just read an article the other day, apparently he's been accused again.
Mhm.
And I'm like, how long does the list have to be? And then when his wife wants to get up on national media and tell these Epstein survivors, you should, go back, drag yourself and your business in front of Congress again. I'm like, lady, you
Yeah.
are the worst. You are the worst.
The worst lady in history. Like, you don't know what was going on. I can't wait to see what that Spanish TV interview come out to be, because she came out and said that press conference, and I've been just hearing the stories about
Mm.
how this lady that was friends with her for this extended period of time, well, apparently she got picked up by ICE,
Oh.
and the first lady did not help her get out.
Mm.
So she finally got released, and she done left over to Spain, and she said she been tell everybody business today.
Good.
So I can't wait till that breaks. I want to hear.
Well, I think that is actually that is a sad thing about our media right now because Americans are not like this and they're giving us a bad front to the world. But we were always the people that were holding it down. Like we were the
Mhm.
ones screaming from the rooftops if something hinky was going on. So yeah, you know, as with many things, these stories, they always take root. A tree of truth always grows out of that crack, and I
Mhm.
can't wait to hear this lady's story.
No, absolutely. It's gonna be a fun one.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else that you want to tell people today? Anything in particular that you think maybe they haven't heard or just special that you want them to know about you?
Absolutely. Hey, and guys, my name is Bernard Taylor. I'm running for Congress down here in Florida 21. It covers St. Lucie County, Martin County, and northern Palm Beach County, Florida. One thing I wanted people to understand is, we are fighting an uphill battle. As me and Tabitha have discussed in this interview. We were not picked by the establishment. We were not ordained to be like, all right, it's your turn to run. We're literally people like yourselves who are tired of seeing the system, for lack of a better words, fuck us every
Hmm.
day,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
not really care about the needs and wants of everyday American people.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
if you want people that are actually going to look out for you, that are going to care for you, you need to put people like myself and Tabitha in office.
He can come back.
Yeah, come on, come on. It's
Come
okay.
on. This
And
is a
as you guys
family
can,
show.
yeah, and as you guys can hear, like, we're not, we're everyday people. I got my
Hmm.
children, Tab's got her children in the background, and we're trying to run these campaigns and be,
Hmm.
good
Hmm.
moms and good dads and all these things
Hmm.
at the same time. So it
Yeah.
is important to make sure there are more people like us in these seats that actually can relate to, wondering if I'm going to pay the mortgage or the rent this month,
Hmm.
asking, hey,
Hmm.
I might need an extension on the light bill this month because the money just isn't there. Or
Hmm.
like you
Hmm.
talked about with childcare and knowing that, daycare costs more than your rent sometimes in certain
Hmm.
places.
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
more people that we get into these offices that understand this, the more likely we can have positive change. And if we can always find money to take people's lives, we
Hmm.
definitely
Hmm.
have money to save people's lives.
Yeah.
So if you want to know more about me and my campaign, you can visit bernardtaylorforcongress.com. It's bernardtaylorforcongress.com. And if you got a couple dollars to spare, send them my way, send them Tabitha's way. The more money we raise, the more we're able to get our message out to as many people as possible.
Well, Bernard, it was a pleasure to have you on. And we're going to meet up in Indianapolis. So we'll do some social media stuff there and give everybody a thrill from Indianapolis, too.
Absolutely. Sounds great. See you then. Thanks
All
for the
right.
interview.
Well, yeah.
Hey,
Hey,
Bubba. Say
see you
bye.
later, Bubba.
Bye.
Thanks for having it. See you
No
later.
worries. See you later.
Bye. We are at a pivotal point in American history. We do not have the luxury to remain silent. Programs are disappearing every day. We hope that this podcast raises awareness and sparks a sense of advocacy in you. We all can make a difference. The important thing is to start. See you next time.